What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about this new record from Hot Chip entitled Freakout Release. It was released on August 19th. This is the band's 8th studio album and their follow-up to 2019's A Bath Full of Ecstasy. And this London outfit knows how to get it done, how to get people onto the dance floor. And they've been doing it now consistently for almost 30 years. Dropped their debut back in 2004, but they've been together since 1995. And I just love what this band brings to the table. The first thing I want to discuss is their live act. And this band reminds me of Rufus Du Sol, Cut Copy. I love bands like this that are making music that's very funky and very electronically driven, but they're performing it like a rock and roll band. And Alexis Taylor especially, love his voice, love his ability as a multi-instrumentalist. Most of the players in this band are actually phenomenal multi-instrumentalists. And it's just cool that when you go to see them, there's that, you get that rock and roll element. The show is improvised a little bit. There's just an energy that I feel becomes intangible versus seeing a DJ or some DJs throw down a set. And I'm a DJ. This is coming from a guy who's spinning wax. I think it's really cool to see players come together like this and create that type of atmosphere while ostensibly being a rock and roll band. It's one of my favorite things about these guys. And you talk about that combination of sounds: funk, soul, R&B, disco, hip hop, drum and bass. These guys sound like a combination of like Chemical Brothers and Arctic Monkeys and Prince and Crowded House and New Order. And it's like you could just go on and on and on with all the different sounds that you can identify when you're listening to their records. So this, from start to finish, another great effort. 11 songs, 47 minutes. All of these tracks feel like they could have been singles. All of them that, just put together that well written. And it's tough to pick a favorite on this thing. I really had a tough time. Start with the opener down, though. This is, I love just the little lo-fi intro. And then this thing kicks in jamming. It samples the Universal Togetherness Band song More Than Enough. And it's really cool to hear the band talk about how, they had the sample, they played it, were inspired, and then it just came together. I think it was one of the first songs they wrote for this record. And you talk about feeling all those different elements. This song, funk, soul, disco, house, all of it's there. It's a great album opener. A great way to kick this thing off. Eleanor is your second track. Bright, bouncy synth. You get some funky bass. And I like the more funky feel of this record in the first half. Takes on more of an electronic element in the second, but I think the movement from start to finish really has great continuity. And I was very pleased with the way that this record moved. Freakout Release, your third song, has got this strong electronic 80s feel to it. This is almost like very electronically driven. Some industrial textures, a little bit of rock and roll, but I was thinking of a band like Kraftwerk. Really, it's taken on that strong of a sound. And it's probably, as far as that electronic sound, the strongest moment on this record. Broken is your fourth track. Love the build on the instrumentation in this track. It's got this solid blend of pop and rock, but definitely more pop driven in my opinion. Not Alone, your fifth song, synth driven ambience and vocal on the intro. I really like the way that's going to set the tone for the rest of this track. It's got some light melodies and some light synths that's going to work in. I like the pulsating synths that work in there especially, but overall a more mellow moment, and it comes at a right time in my opinion. Hard to Be Funky is your sixth song, featuring British DJ Lou Hader, and loving his work on this track with the band. It's just got this great percussion. It's a little different, a little subtle. It's got this sci-fi synth, and then the bass on this song, super thick, cool mellow track. Really a big fan of it. Time, though, is going to be one of my favorites. And I really like this stretch right here between your 7th song Time and your 8th song Miss the Bliss. But Time has got this just ambient house. Just think of that 90s house feel. Love the vocal melody on this particular song as well. It is one of my favorites. And Miss the Bliss is just going to keep that feel going. I really like this stretch of the record a ton for that reason. I love the way that they dabble, but when they really start messing with the house stuff, I think that I'd argue that that's where this band excels quite a bit, in my opinion. The Evil That Men Do, featuring Cadence Weapon. He is just fire on this track. It's got this minimal electro feel, really sexy song. I love the feel of it. Great guest appearance on this track. Leads into your penultimate track, Guilty, which is another one of my favorites, honestly. I like the 80s funk and electro feel of this song. Just think Prince right off the bat. Great vocal on this particular track. And then Out of My Depth, your final song. I love the way that this song builds. And, this is a British band, so it's almost like this traditional feeling that's driving this song. And there's some orchestration there. There's certainly all this contemporary stuff, but it feels very much grounded in, you know, the music you might listen to in a traditional trad session out there in a pub. But I love that. I love that the first half of the song takes that on, and then you get the shift and just a great fill, a great outro. I love the energy of the song, and I love the energy of this record from start to finish. These guys killed it on this project. This record, a ton of fun. Might even be one of my favorites this year. I don't know. Like I'm looking forward to spinning it more, but this thing might end up ultimately working into my top 10 towards the end. I dig the balance of quality music that you're always getting from this band. But I think given everything that we've gone through in the past few years, and these guys just growing up like we all do, a richer perspective lyrically and just a little more depth as far as the songwriting is concerned. And I think that this album is just a damn fine experience, and I enjoyed the hell of it. I hope you do. Vinyl, please, on this bad boy. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on the Beat Sessions.